Hello.
Hi.
I am Samantha Barrios.
And I am Sam Gianfala.
And welcome to KP Live.
We have a new intro.
I just decided right now on our 1-year anniversary. Happy anniversary, Sam.
Yes, happy anniversary.
We need a song.
I will get on that tonight.
You know what? There's a special guest on tonight who's really good at doing
That's
songs.
what I heard. I've actually heard some of her work and I'm very impressed. So maybe we can talk to this person after.
I like where you're going with this. All right. Make sure and butter her up when she comes on.
Yes.
She's very talented. She doesn't need a lot of buttering up.
Honestly.
I am really excited about this show because we've got a lot of stuff going on at Kentwood Players.
We do, yes.
We have a lot of things going on. So first of all, congratulations to the new board. We've got a lot of stuff ahead of us for the next year, and that new board starts on January 1st. Not January, please.
No, that would be weird.
But yay. So congratulations to everyone joining the board. And then tell us about what's going on with the virtual play series, Sam.
So tonight is your last night to watch Happy and Gay, which was written by Mary Steelsmith and directed by Susan Stengel. So if you still have not watched it, what have you been doing? It's been up for 4 weeks, but you have a few more hours to watch it. And it's pretty great, pretty funny. So the next show that we have that's going to be replacing it is a little show called The Test that was directed by Shari Barrett and written by Rahm Watson. And who's in it? So one of the cast members, his name is John Webb. He's actually a very good friend of mine. And then the other cast member is named Sam Gianfala, who you might recognize from KP Live. So that is going to go up on our YouTube channel at 8:15 right when this is over. So after you're done watching our interview tonight, go on and watch it.
Come premiere it with us. We're going to watch it together and we can chat.
Yes.
We're watching. It's going to be a lot of fun. 8:15 tonight, directly following this show. Right. And then you can watch Happy and Gay, and then you can watch Daniel make a wedding cake martini cocktail or mocktail.
Yes.
And then you can watch everything again.
Great.
Because there's nothing else going on. Not like there's a music award show. I don't know. Also, next weekend, we've got 2 things happening next weekend. We've got Kelsey Weinstein's play coming up for Little Renegade Productions, Gruesome Playground Injuries.
Yes.
Why I felt I needed to be British for that, I have no idea.
I think it fits.
You think what?
I think that fits. I think the British accent fits.
Agreed. And that on the opens the 27th, and following the live stream on the 27th is a Q&A. Which should be a lot of fun. And then it will stream that whole weekend. But on Friday night, you all are going to be busy.
Yes.
Before I announce it, I just realized I forgot something.
Oh.
Well, I'll announce it because I was going to say, and then we're going to bring on our guest. But I'm going to announce it, and then I have to do our other thing. But on Friday night is our very special Gilbert and Sullivan benefit, a night with Gilbert and Sullivan, a benefit for the Kentwood Players.
Oh my goodness, that sounds so exciting. Where can I watch it?
You can watch it on our YouTube channel. And in fact, if you go there now, you can set a reminder. And
I'm actually on there right now. You can set a reminder so that you don't forget.
I hope I don't forget because I'm hosting.
That would be good. That would be preferred.
I won't forget. The director's sitting in the backstage. I hope she's not watching this because she's going to start to get nervous.
I'm going to be honest. I don't know if she can see or hear us. So
she can. She can. She's gonna be nervous. I'm gonna miss it. I'm not gonna miss it. I'm just kidding. All right. I'm very excited about this. There are 21 Kentwood members performing Gilbert and Sullivan pieces. I've seen it. It's really a hoot. I'm having a lot of fun. It's an enjoyable night of entertainment.
Would you say that it's a hoot and a holler?
It's a hoot and a holler.
Okay, I got to be there then.
It's a hoot and a holler. And we're going to hear more about it in a moment when we bring on our guests. We're going to find out why on earth we're doing this and what it took to get it all to happen in this virtual world during the pandemic. And but before we do that, I want to do our land acknowledgement, which
Yes.
is what I almost forgot. And I want to acknowledge we're all in Southern California, and we all happen to be on the land of the Tongva people. So I like to acknowledge the ancestral lands of the Tongva people. And also last week, and you weren't here, Sam, but I learned that Loyola Marymount University, where you happen to attend school, they have a big memorial.
Yes, they do. I do know about that. It's like right in the front.
I didn't realize that. And so now I want to go back and check this out. But it is the first memorial anywhere to these people of the earth, is what they're referred to. It was dedicated in 2000 as a fitting complement to the present day dwellings. And you can gaze out over the Pacific, which is so beautiful.
Yeah.
That is a really beautiful spot to look at the ocean.
Mhm.
And also the Santa Monica Mountains, just
Yeah.
as the native folks, the Tongva people, did before.
Yeah, it's like right off of Lincoln Boulevard. It's really gorgeous.
I'm going to take a field trip. Will you take me, show me?
Yes, I will.
Thank you.
It's right down the street from me, actually.
Yay. All right. Well, without further ado, I'm very excited to bring on our development chair for the Kentwood Players to talk to us about this fundraising efforts and what in the world we're raising money for. And the director and creator of A Night with Gilbert and Sullivan, Catherine Rahm. So let me bring them on. Yay.
There they are. Oh my goodness.
Hi, welcome to KP Live.
Hi, glad to be here.
Good to be back.
Yay, thank you both for rejoining us. And you're on our anniversary performance.
Yes, feel special.
Very
I should have brought flowers. I didn't know.
That's okay. We have cocktails.
First
We
year-
feel it in our spirit.
That's right.
Yes. Yay. Well, I want to say I have seen the benefit. I'm very excited about it. There's a live portion of this. I don't want to take away from that, which obviously I've not seen because it hasn't happened yet. But I'm very excited about this event on Friday. But I'm also curious as to why we're doing it. So Jeremy, will you please talk to me a little bit about why we are doing a benefit performance? What are we raising money for?
Excellent question. Well, aside from being a 50 with the letters 501c3 nonprofit, for which a nonprofit theater company by definition show ticket sales and things like that only make up a certain amount of our funds that we need in order to exist and produce productions and things like that. So on top of just needing to have funds coming in addition to ticket sales and things like that, we are in the midst of a whole renovation campaign for several aspects of our theater home, where we have been lived for I forget the exact number, 50 plus years, 60, I was somewhere around there, I forget. It's a lot of history to keep track of. Making a lot of updates, much needed updates to our space, which we can do in this time when we are dark, as we say, when there are not shows being done, which usually we're doing shows just year round for year after year after year. So using this time to do updates to things like our well, first of all, we had some damage done by a leaky some water damage that was obviously done to some aspects. So repairing some of our flooring, as well as leaky roof, which then led to some damaged ceiling tiles, which all of which are just kind of a chain reaction that sets off that we needs to be replaced, as well as being hand in hand with COVID bringing to mind certain needs as far as our ventilation kind of being a little bit out of date, needing to update our HVAC system and making sure that we have the most kind of healthy air circulation going on for our audiences when they return, so they can return to both a well-tempered environment as well as a safely ventilated environment. Not that it wasn't safe before, but we all have a new appreciation for what it means to be safe ventilation and things like that. So we want to be up to speed with that. So we've had new HVAC systems put in place, new roofing, new flooring, new all kinds of things. We are also, for the purpose of our actors and the benefit of our actors, conceiving our dressing room spaces, repainting and reorganizing our green room space and our rehearsal space. So it's a very long list of things which the mixed blessing of the pandemic is allowing us to get done while we don't have shows going on, but at the same time, those things apparently are not done for free. You need to pay people money in order to do these kinds of things. And so are looking at various avenues, as is part of my role of finding various avenues with which to raise this money, in addition to and until we get people back paying for tickets and coming to see our live productions, which we hope to get back to, soonish. So this is one of those ways that we are doing this is our Gilbert and Sullivan concert that is coming up next weekend.
These are big ticket items too. It wasn't just like we had one thing. I mean, you've named really large repairs and remodels. Kat, you probably know, we've been in this building. How many, since when do you remember?
Well, the theater company itself has been in existence for 70 years. And we have been in this space, I believe, for something like 58 or 59 of those years. They initially started at a school and moved to another venue, and then finally purchased the venue we were in. And then some years into that, they were also able to expand the venue we were in and add on the green room and some extra storage space. And there we have been ever since. And as Jeremy said, we have been desperately in need of renovations for some time. And one that I think Jeremy neglected to mention, but is sort of the invisible thing that we needed to do in order for us to upgrade the HVAC was to upgrade the electrical system. Because when you are in a building that is over 50 years old, the power grid is, shall we say, not quite as efficient as newer construction would be. And when you're getting the much higher powered and more efficient running systems that we are installing, it requires more power. And so we had to do completely rewire and upgrade all of the power systems in that. And that was an enormous amount of cost just for that.
Wow. Yeah, that is a lot. One of the things I learned through doing this benefit, actually, editing some real fun video that we'll see on Friday, was a little bit of the history and knowing that when everything was built, the stage, the addition in the back, it was all done by members.
Yes.
And we've been in this building for so long, and it really, I mean, things wear down. Things need a little upkeep.
Much like our performers as well, things just, they
a few of us need a little more upkeep than others, but
right.
It does wear.
It's true.
Yeah. We are having, in looking at ways, obviously we do have our professionals, our contractors and things like that coming and doing things. We are also at the same time having shifts of performers and members coming in, painting and cleaning and organizing, and that's been going on almost a year now, since this started first, when we realized that this work needed to be done. It's a large amount of work that had to be to remove everything from our dressing rooms, our storage spaces, and put that down into the theaters. And then once we got the work done as far as things being built and framed and that kind of thing, having a lot of volunteer efforts coming in to help with that. And I was just in there painting on Friday afternoon, and I know a lot of people were in there over the weekend and have been for the last several. So we're, as a company and as a volunteer organization, doing that, our part, in that way. And then we're also just looking to some of our patrons and our other members and just friends of friends and all that kind of lovers of the arts all over to also maybe pitch in for that as well, whether it's on our ongoing GoFundMe campaign that's just kind of up and running, or through things like this benefit concert coming up this weekend that allows people to contribute a various number of ways towards the work that we're doing here, among a couple of the ways that we're looking to help people, aid them in their support for us, for them to help them help us, if you will.
Now, we have been closed since March of 2020, so it's been over a year. And so at what point did y'all realize that this needs to get done? and that it was able to get done in this time? And then what were some of the biggest obstacles you had in this whole process?
Well, I can do the first part of that, Jeremy, is the flooding upstairs happened quite early on in the shutdown.
Oh, yes.
So because the theater was empty with the show closing down, people were not in there checking on things. And when a leak sprang in, I believe it was our water fountain system, it was able to run for a fair amount of time and do a fair amount of damage before anyone was actually in the space again to catch it. And so that sort of began the process of, well, my God, now we've got to do all of this. We've got to replace all this flooring. And while we're doing that, we're looking up here and suddenly, we can't replace the flooring because we need to replace the ceiling, because what's the point of having new floors if this is going to continue to leak here, which now we're suddenly seeing to get, and it just sort of came from that was the first step. And then we began to realize, and as we began to realize that this was going to be closed for a long amount of time, we began to see the opportunity in making changes that we had wanted to make for a long time. But in order to do major work, you'd have to, you can't be running a show at the same time. And so to get the roof and the AV, the air conditioning and the electrical, the theater needed to be vacant for a fair amount of time for that.
Yeah, it was like, it seems like it was like you couldn't fix one thing without having to fix the other thing. So.
Right. It's any homeowner can tell you that the minute you do one thing, it's like, I'm going to paint this wall, and now everything else looks terrible. So now I have to do the floor, and oops, well, now I have to do this room, and gosh, now I need a new table. And now you can't, it's dominoes. You start one, there's no stopping it.
Yeah. Right. Okay. And Jeremy, what would you say has been the biggest obstacle so far when doing all of this repair work?
I mean, it sounds simplistic to say money, just in the sense of that these things, have it comes with expenses, and so just having to be able to find and while leaving enough for the theater to continue to function once we get up and running and stuff like that, finding creative ways and solutions. We've had a lot of our members who we are fortunate in their regular day jobs, the thing that they do that they get paid for, have some of the experience and know-how and everything to know how to help us negotiate some of these things and deal with contractors and tell us what's the right deal and what's the best value and how to make sure we're getting the most for what we spend and things like that, because it's when you only do these types of renovations once every 10-20 years or something like that, it's easy to kind of not necessarily know what you're getting into. So it's something we've been able to fall back on our membership and the expertise of different members of that and some of their generosity has helped us deal with kind of that, because as it's a complex thing. Renovate, it deals with electrical and HVAC and plumbing and drywall and roofing and all these other wide range of areas that we're looking to address and need to address. So finding the right balance of know-how and then making sure that we find the best way to finance all those operations going forward, so that the theater can continue to do what it has always done for 70 years and present the quality productions to our audience and our community. And we don't want anything to interrupt that beyond the interruption that's already happened, obviously.
Right.
So that we can just get back to what we do as soon as possible.
Right. So interesting question. Let's say I'm a patron, I'm an audience member watching. We're in the apocalypse. We're coming out of it. We see the light at the end of the tunnel. Yay! We've gotten all the zombies. Why do we need to invest in a theater space? Why do the Kentwood Players go, the Westchester Playhouse is so important to us that we are going to invest all this money, all this time into, fixing a roof and redoing. I mean, we're not just like laying new carpet, like we had to redo floor parts and fix leaks. And, why do we do that? Why don't we just, rent out a bigger space or perform in the street?
Well, I think Kentwood is one of the most fortunate of the local theater companies in the Los Angeles area in that they do own the building free and clear. Most small theater companies and even equity theater companies, they rent their space. And so when something happens like this, where they're not going to be money coming in for a year or more, they had to close their doors. And so many small theaters are just clinging on by their fingernails, hoping to be able to get back into some kind of space. We've watched so many of them just have to eliminate everything they owned. Whereas we're the stewards at Kentwood of that space. And that space is our single biggest asset. And if we were to let it run down, then we would be doing a disservice to the community and to the theater community at large. I think the arts are even more important coming out of a really, really difficult time that we've all been through with the pandemic. And the arts can be healing, the arts can bring people together, the arts can take your mind off of your troubles. There's so many things that the arts can do, and yet they are drastically underfunded in this country. And so when we are in a position to be fortunate enough to have a space that can host these arts and become a real vital part of our community, I think it behooves us to do so, whatever it takes.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. I think that brings up a really excellent point going into, like, lucky enough, we need money for our building. And here we've got this amazing, talented pool of people, and we can put on entertainment. And so here we go. We are doing this benefit to raise the money. And so I'm curious, Kat, what prompted this idea of this is going to be a good way?
Well, I was trying to think of something that we could do that would tick off a number of boxes. We needed to raise some money. We also had a number of members that were desperate to be performing again in some fashion. We have our so very, very loyal season ticket holders who have waited, and not insisted on having their payments refunded. They waited and trusted in us to be coming back so that they can pick up their season where they left off. And we wanted to do something that would kind of service all of those needs, so we could make some money that people would have fun doing, that people would have fun watching, that could be a gift to our subscribers and to our audience. And trying to find something that would do all of that and yet not be expensive for us to put on with no money coming in. And Gilbert and Sullivan is a wonderfully flexible tool for that, because it is in the public domain. Yeah. And so we don't have to pay royalties for it. It's music that I had and that I was able to score out so that we didn't have to pay, because again, since this was all being recorded under very COVID safe conditions, I needed something that I could do and score myself at home and then be able to send out. So it helped that I had the music for that and that I was relatively familiar with most of the songs already. And it's just so life affirming. There's no lyricist team out there better than Gilbert and Sullivan. It's something that really is universal. The stuff that they make fun of is still pertinent today. in a lot of ways. So you can still get the entertainment value out of it. The music holds up wonderfully well. It's not tied specifically to a time and place. I've seen all kinds of wonderful, interesting things done with Gilbert and Sullivan music. And so I thought, well, this would be a great point. I can get all different kinds of performers in here to do their take on a lot of different styles of songs. And I just thought it would be fun and entertaining.
So how did you go about putting these people together and choosing the people to participate, and also the songs? Like, which songs, why did you choose those specific ones?
I started with the people. What I did, because I was under some time constraints, and in this environment, holding auditions is tricky. And so I needed people that I knew. And having had the good fortune to be a director of musicals and a musical director at Kentwood and other places for the last quarter of a century, I have worked with a lot of people. And so I was able to go through and pick people that I thought were members at Kentwood that would want to participate, and that I knew their vocal styles and what would show them off best. And once I had the people on board, then I went through the music and tried to match songs that I thought would be fun and interesting. Sometimes playing against type in a song, sometimes playing to the type, but most of all, trying to find something that I thought each person could bring their own special little joie de vivre to. And so that was the standpoint that I went in. I was trying to get a wide range of people that we've got people that have been with the theater for 40 years in this, and people that have been with the theater for 2 years in this. So I wanted to really show that really breadth of experience.
Yeah, I think that's great. And I think it's a really good showcase to see the different ages and different everything of how this community is. So I really love that you didn't just choose people who've been here forever. You chose people who are relatively new and people who have been here forever. So I think that's really great.
And I also wanted to play with like I say, types and genders, and play not necessarily do things in the way that they would have been done in the original time period. I have women singing men's songs and men singing women's songs, and all different ethnic backgrounds singing all different types of things, because I think it's important to be inclusive and to try and not feel like you have to be in a certain box. This person can only sing this kind of song. And when you're doing a piece like this, you have a lot more freedom in that way.
Yeah. That is one of the things that didn't even occur to me. That's how seamless it is when watching the numbers, is that nothing feels out of place, because you can play with anything. And what's interesting for me, my number is typically an older gentleman.
Yeah.
And I've never even looked at this number as even an option. And then I fell in love with it, and I was like, why have I not been doing this? It's so fun. So it was a really great opportunity to expand and learn.
Yeah, I'm glad. And that's what I was hoping everyone would get out of it. Not sing a song that you would have necessarily ever been given the opportunity to sing. Although, as I say, there's a lot of different things have been done with Gilbert and Sullivan. I remember a few years back at the, I believe it was at the LA Fringe, where they did a production of, instead of HMS Pinafore, it was HMS Enterprise, where they had the Pinafore as Star Trek characters. And it was wildly successful. So there is just you can do all kinds, it's like Shakespeare in a way, that you can take it and you can place it in almost any kind of a setting and make it work.
Yes. Oh, I'm so bummed I missed that.
And that sounds awesome.
That's brilliant. Well, what was your most challenging part putting all the show together, and what's been the most rewarding?
Well, I had initially thought that we would have people recording these at home for safety's sake. But then as we started to get into it, I realized that as the infection rate was going down a little bit and it was becoming a little bit safer, we could do it in a safe way and film it actually at the theater, which I thought would really bring it home a little bit more. And particularly it would be a nice, consistent sound and light and look to have everybody filmed at the theater. And that was probably the biggest challenge, was just scheduling. You know, couldn't have too many people in the theater at once. So you're having to schedule and do this. And we had to, with all of the construction going on, it's literally how much space can I have on the theater? We can't pan that way because there's boxes piled over here, and we can't pan that way because there's no light over there. And, you know, to try and adapt within that frame. And then also we did have to bring in a couple of numbers that had to be done outside of the theater. One in particular by a gentleman who had been at the theater in the 90s and lived in South Carolina now, Alfonso Freeman, who was kind enough to come and do his number remotely for us. And I think trying to coordinate all of that and coordinating the rehearsals with people. There's nothing like trying to sing over Zoom.
Oh yeah.
To give you a new respect for doing things in person, because when you got that lag going on, it's super tricky.
Yeah, I remember doing the Pippin video back like last April and trying to do it over Zoom, and that went perfectly well.
Yeah, it's just not doable. They have to be playing the music themselves. You have to do them separately and then try and mix it later. And, you know, I have limited video skills myself, but we were able, with the help of a number of people, to figure out a way to make it work and come together. And I think it really did come together in a great way.
And I love that you found a way to do it at the theater, because I think it will give the audiences like a welcome back kind of thing. People who've missed it and haven't been there since last year are really going to feel like, okay, they're going to feel like we're back together kind of.
That was a large part of it too. I really wanted it to be that, to show that Kentwood is still here. We do still exist. We've been out of the space, but we're working to make the space better, and we are going to be back. And this is what it looks like. And now, you know,
the Vanya set is still up.
Yes, the Vanya set is still up and ready to go, and we will see that in the live portions on Friday night.
It's gonna be great.
Yeah. Oh, I'm very excited about it. Oh, Sam, it looks like you're about to.
I was just gonna say, have we talked about who is doing the live section and who's hosting that portion of the evening?
Well, I think maybe we mentioned once or twice that I'm hosting, but we also have some very special live reporters that are going to be talking us through different parts of what's going on with the theater.
That's exciting.
Yes. We have, I know Michelle, I'm going to miss somebody. I know Michelle Sullen is doing it. I know, I want to say Daniel Kruger is doing it.
No, Daniel is Gail Bernardi.
Gail, oh, that's right. Gail's filling in for, so Gail Bernardi is doing it. Who am I missing? Because I thought there's 4 of us.
Allison will be there. I don't know that she's interviewing. There'll be a number of us there manning the phones and helping out.
Couple special appearances. I don't know if those are a secret though, Kat, as far as some special guests.
Yes. So we don't want to give too much away. I mean,
no.
Just enough to whet your appetite for coming in to see that. But we want
fun for all ages. Let's just say that.
This is going to be a cool one. It is going to be fun for all ages. It really is. It really is a good show, and I think, and it'll be an opportunity for anybody dialing in to see what's going on with the state of the theater now. And Shari Barrett, who is our PR chair at Kentwood, says she was there today, and the upstairs remodel is incredible.
Oh, wow.
It is very exciting. It's not done, but it is very exciting to see what is. It's a really great use of the space and making it everything a little bit more accessible.
Yeah, that's going to be
Really
great.
great. Yeah.
Yeah, I think
So no
that's a
more
good-
running up to do a quick change or run to the restroom, you know, when you've got 30 seconds and then having to like, you know, push actors out of the way in costumes to try and get
Nope.
to the
No more
restroom.
having to go through the men's dressing room if you are a not of the male persuasion in order to get to the bathroom and the quickest. No, yeah, it has been reorganized in a way that I think is more hospitable for our actors, which is always something to think about. Obviously, we get hundreds of people coming to see each show, but we also have anywhere from like 4 to, I don't know, 40. I forget what the largest number we've had there, performers that we have to accommodate too. And so trying to make that as efficient and user-friendly a space as we can for all of our performers as they both rehearse up in that green room space and as they use the dressing rooms during the show and make the most of that space that way too.
Exactly. It's very exciting. And Sherry says it's on the verge of carpet and a new floor in this week. So by the time we do our benefit performance on Friday, you'll be able to see our new carpet.
That is going to be awesome.
I'm very fingers crossed. Yes, knock on wood. I'm very, very excited. It's really great. And we touched on this before, how important theater is to the community. This is a really a great time to come together. We've gone through a lot as a people over the past year and a half. And theater is a tool of education and a tool of entertainment and an opportunity for building friendships. And it's just really great. So it's exciting to see the building come together again. Yay. Well, Reader's Digest round. So I'm going to ask, this is not like a speed round, so please don't feel, and I don't know if you've watched Sam Gianfalo's TikTok, but he's got really great examples of free association. This is not free association speed round.
Oh, wow.
You know what I'm talking about.
Yes, I do.
Follow
Yes.
me on TikTok so they can see this.
Yes.
Please do. Feel free to think about it. But I'm curious, and these questions are for both of you. What is your favorite Gilbert and Sullivan song or musical, if you can't narrow it down to a song?
I think from the shows, I think Pirates of Penzance, probably, because it's a lot of fun. There's so much wonderful things going on, and I have a little personal connection to it. When I was just coming out of college was when they did the big revival that toured with Pam Dauber and Rex Smith.
Oh, wow.
And my roommate from college was actually cast as one of the swings for the daughters. And so as they toured across the country for 6 months, she gradually got to move up in the daughter order.
Oh, that's awesome.
She never got to actually do Mabel, but she did get to move up in the daughters and performed a number of times. So I had a special little connection to it, and I was able to watch her at the Amundsen when it played there.
Wow.
That's awesome.
That's cool.
Jeremy, do you have a favorite?
Well, I mean, and forgive, I'm not as well versed in the works of GNS as we call them. That is Pirates of Penzance is where from whence comes the song "I am the very model of a modern major general," right?
Yes.
That song was kind of my first exposure to Gilbert and Sullivan, although not really the song itself so much as "I am the very model of a cartoon individual" sung by Yakko Warner on Animaniacs.
Yes.
That was really my introduction to Gilbert and Sullivan by virtue of that parody done. And Kat, you of course can appreciate the artistry of musical parody.
Yes.
If you're not familiar with that, hop on YouTube. I'm sure you can find Yakko Warner's "I am the very model of a cartoon individual." Still with the same deft wordplay and patter and the inimitable Rob Paulson performance there, really nailing it home. But that's definitely what stuck with me over the years is the influence that it had. I mean, they are, of course, that's just one example, but Gilbert and Sullivan, of course, has influenced everyone from Animaniacs to, I'm sure, if you ask Lin-Manuel Miranda, like, what do you think of Gilbert and Sullivan, he would probably cite that as one of many influences in his, style of because what is that if not Victorian era rapping, essentially.
Yes.
And that's very true. Very true. I think they've probably influenced most lyricists that have come after them.
Yeah,
I
for
would
sure.
also just like to say Jeremy's brain immediately going to like a 90s cartoon TV show is really on brand for him.
That's just me. I've got this with my Wally t-shirt here.
Oh yeah, of course.
That's brilliant.
Yeah, I love that, and it makes sense. Also, I was like, oh yeah, I totally remember that. I mean, it's way before my time.
Oh sure, yeah.
But I totally remember. I love it. Okay. And then do you have, oh, well, Jeremy, you haven't seen the show, but I was going to ask Kat if you had a favorite number in the show for Friday.
Well, you're asking me to pick. You're asking me to pick my favorite child, and I have two of my performers sitting right here. So those two aside, which of course are amongst my favorites, I think probably the funniest number is going to be Kyle Ray. And was our
we love
him. Singing a Wandering Minstrel, and we had just a hysterical time doing that with Allison off to the side throwing him props.
Yes.
That's awesome.
I can't wait to see that. I was worried you were going to once again give the award to Elliot Plunkett. I was afraid it was going to go that way again.
Well, it's pretty hard. It is pretty hard to top a young child tapping in a show, but I have to say I got to give this one to Kyle. He really took it and ran with it.
I guess
quite literally.
Look forward to that.
Yes.
People, you got to come watch this. It's filled with so many wonderful gems, as you can already tell. I love that. And then if money was no object, this is away from the benefit, but if money was no object, what show would you like to see done and how at the Kentwood Players? I know Sam's show.
You know mine. I've already talked to you about this multiple times.
Well, on the one hand, if money was no object, we could do Urinetown and not worry about the title scaring people away. Yeah, that's definitely a favorite of mine. Not that it's not an expensive show to do. It's just if you're going to do it, you're going to lose a certain number of people just in the title, which the show itself acknowledges is terrible. But as a show, I think it's really terrific. I would vote for that probably.
There's a reason it's very popular in college and high school.
Yes, fair enough.
I think we can do that show. Let's put it on.
I'd like to see Mamma Mia, which I think you could scale down, but it is a pretty large cast, and it does require a lot of sound equipment, and because it's a pop score, but I'm a child of that era, and I adore ABBA, so I just find that quite entertaining, and I would love to see that.
I just worry that there's so many female characters in that. I mean, there's not that many women in musical theater that really.
I know it would be a tough cast, but I think you can pull it out.
Oh my gosh, that's great. Sam and I like to we like to discuss shows that people think are impossible to do at Kentwood, but we can totally do them. And so we're adding Mamma Mia and Urinetown to the list, both totally doable at Kentwood. And we're adding that to the list of dreams and needs.
My personal one that we've talked multiple times about is Starlight Express. And I have a whole plan. That we'll talk about later. But I promise you it's going to happen.
I got to tell you, Sam, some years ago, at Kentwood, we do at our monthly meeting, we have workshops afterwards, right? Where people will put up things. And I did a show with a good friend of mine, Joey. We did a 2-person show. It was All I Need to Know I learned from Andrew Lloyd Webber. And it was a mashup of a whole bunch of Andrew Webber songs that just would go from one into another. And we did, in fact, do Starlight Express, which I did on my daughter's Razor scooter.
Yeah. It's doable.
Here's the problem.
It's possible a video exists of this somewhere, and it's also we also did the Tonight medley from West Side Story with just the two of us singing all of the parts.
Oh my gosh.
That is exactly how I think it was originally supposed to be.
I need this video so bad.
I'm just texting everybody in Kentwood, letting them know that I need to direct a show, a really easy show right now.
Starlight Express.
Really easy, really cheap, small cast.
That is brilliant, and I love it, and that is fabulous. We're going to put that on the list, Sam. Starlight Express Plays Committee immediately. Yeah. When we come out of this panorama, what do you want to see? What are you hoping to see in the theater world? Not just like, I want to go back to Disney.
Well, there's that.
Well, you could do that.
Yeah. I mean, I do just hope that people have this new appreciation, and I'm not by any means the first one to point this out, that, you know, arts, plural, whatever, various forms, are what for so many people sustained us through the last 14-ish months, whether that was film and television on streaming services, whether there were actual like streamed plays and short plays or full-length plays, or whether it was going back into their old favorite albums or books or anything like that. Some form of art. Virtually nobody, I would wager, has gotten through this whole thing without being exposed to the arts. And the thing is, they get taken for granted so much, and so many of us were able to do that in a way that kind of seemed like it was often free. Like, I mean, you pay for streaming, but then you watch like 18 hours a day of it. So you're like, oh, what's $7 a month, and that kind of thing. And so the idea that if arts are going to sustain us, then they have to be sustained by people, whether that's getting out and going to see live things, or whether that's ensuring that you are supporting them in addition to that, whether it's becoming a subscribing member to a theater company or to a museum or to some sort of just benefit, being a benefactor for some sort of arts and culture. We'd love it to be us, but any sort that you can get out and support in person or otherwise would really be good, because they've been, you know, a lot of us have taken a hit, and we're again fortunate among others, but not so fortunate that we don't still need our ongoing support to do the things that we need to do. So I definitely hope that the people have shown up for the arts as much as the arts have shown up for the people last year.
I love that. Yes, absolutely. Thank you. Kat, what about you? What are you hoping to see?
You know, I think it's easy to get complacent, especially when you live someplace like Los Angeles, where there is so much vibrant theater available on both a small and large scales. And you get lazy and you think, you know, my friend's in another thing. I'm tired. I don't want to go out this weekend. I don't want to go that. I think it's going to be a long time before I say that again. I'm going to try and get out to see as many things, and I don't care what it is, whatever one person show you are doing. If you are doing Shakespeare set in a World War II setting, if you are trying to do some sort of, if you're doing the HMS Pinafore with the Enterprise, whatever it is you are doing, I'm going to come out and support you in that, because I think it's so important to get people back out there and to try and again, support these people that have done so much, tried to do so much online and tried to keep it going and tried to lift people's spirits. I think it's important to give back now and try to support that as much as we possibly can. And I personally intend to do that.
Yeah, I remember like right before the pandemic started, Samantha and I would go to shows every weekend. Yeah. And then all of a sudden it just came to a screeching halt. So I can't wait to do that. I'm gonna be honest, I've already bought my ticket to the opening night of Hamilton at the Pantages. So because I had a ticket like at the end of March last year, and so I never got to go. So now this is my like redemption story.
Yeah.
I think you're gonna like it.
Yeah. I mean, it's pretty good. It's
I think it'll be fine. Who's that?
Never mind him. He just someone I let live here and use my office from time to time.
nice. Yay. I have to say I am totally with you. Well, both Jeremy and Kat. But same. I'm ready to get out there. I'm not taking any, for granted. I want to watch all the shows.
I'm ready to drive back to South Orange County to see some random show.
Right.
For 15 minutes again.
Yes.
I'm ready for that hour-and-a-half commute to get some Sonic.
This is a true story.
This is exactly what happened.
Sam, let's can we do our live theater round?
My favorite question. So really quickly, I know again it's like choosing children, but I think both of you have answered this question. What is one of your favorite live theater memories, either participating or backstage or in the audience? And then what is a debacle you have either witnessed or caused? And if you would like to state names and places, I will not stop you.
Did I talk about? I think I already mentioned mine last time, I guess, because you were both the one that you were both on stage for. It's kind of everything. It's a favorite memory and a biggest debacle at the same time.
Go ahead and say it, because it was back in July. So
well, it pertained. You two both may recall. Kat, you were probably there, also just not on stage. I believe it was opening night of Pippin, was it not?
No, it was the day after.
The second show, thank you. The opening night managed to come off okay. The second show of Pippin, in which Pippin is meant to dive into a fiery, giant screen projection of an inferno, and yet instead, due to the nascent producer up helping to try to run the technical board in the booth, what instead resulted in a scroll down Windows menu of whatever was supposed to. No fire at any point appeared during the song, while very talented cast, including both of you and the illustrious Kyle Ray, were emoting so fervently into jumping into the fire in this great emotional climax against a backdrop of just pure mundanity.
It did come up. The fire did appear eventually.
It did happen twice. The second time I got it up there eventually.
It wasn't as bad, but we were very scared.
Can I just real quickly, can I just say this very funny moment? I will never forget, because by this point in the play, I have scared. I mean, like, everybody knows I'm a little frightening. My character is a little frightening. And I remember we all point to the computer screen, and I'm thinking, what do I do? And then what I could feel was every member of the show going, she's gonna be so like in character, not thinking Samantha.
No, of course.
Thinking, leading player is gonna be so pissed. I'm like slow turning to stare at me.
It was like, I just remember looking at you to be like, what do we do? As if you could do anything at this point.
Yeah.
That was definitely that's live theater.
Only I could have fixed it, and I didn't.
You
I figured it out eventually.
You did.
Well, my favorite debacle was some years ago, and it's a much lower tech one. I had gone to see a production of The Sound of Music at, of all things, a Jewish community center somewhere in the valley. And, of course, it was done in one of these, kind of cafeteria type settings where it's the stage that's maybe 3 or 4 feet high, and then people sitting in folding chairs stand on that. At any rate, they're doing the full thing. And of course, which has some of the songs that weren't in the movie. And when they're doing, there's no way to stop it. It's Max and Elsa and Maria and the captain. And at one point, they're doing a little bit of a kind of a little dance as they're singing that. And the captain has been playing, or somebody's been playing the guitar. And so the guitar is to the side, and they're doing the little dance. And the woman playing Elsa stepped back and put her foot right through the guitar. and then tried to keep going. So it was literally lifting the foot with the guitar as they tried, and she was trying to kick it off and then trying to get moving until finally they just had to stop and let her kick it off and then continue with the song. It was quite something to witness.
That is great. Oh my gosh, it's amazing. That's live theater.
Yeah, my favorites are when they always try to act like nothing's wrong.
Nothing's wrong. This is totally normal.
No, this is we blocked it like this.
I always wear a guitar shoe.
We go through a lot of guitars, but it's good.
It's in the budget. It's in the budget.
Oh my gosh, that's the best. Oh, love it. Yay. Well, I want to say thank you both for spending some time with us and getting us all caught up on the festivities for Friday for our night with Gilbert and Sullivan and giving us a little update on the theater. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having us, and I hope everyone will follow that link and come and watch us on Friday night. It's going to be a lot of fun, and I think you'll really enjoy it.
Absolutely.
Yes. You can find us on YouTube at, where you found us for KP Live.
Right here.
You can find us. You can set a reminder. It's Friday night at 7. I almost said 8, and then I was like, nope, we're doing it early. It's at 7. And it's going to be great. We've got a live portion as well as 21 numbers from Gilbert and Sullivan. So yay. And also don't forget that in 12 minutes, we are premiering the virtual play, The Test, starring our very own Sam G. and Paul.
What? That is crazy.
It's happening. So make sure and watch it. And you've got a couple hours to catch Happy and Gay before it goes off air. And you've got a month to watch The Test multiple times. You're going to
multiple times.
Multiple times. Yay. And we'll see you next week where our guests will be the 2 actors from The Test and our director, Shari Barrett.
I can't wait to interview them.
Oh boy. All right. Have a good week, everyone. We'll see you later.